Hello. On behalf of Barnard College and Women in Hollywood, it is my honor to welcome you to the 11th Annual Athena Film Festival. This festival is dedicated to celebrating the stories of bold, courageous women leaders and the filmmakers who bring these stories to life. Thank you for joining us. My name is Melissa Silverstein. I'm the co-founder and artistic director of the festival, and I'm also the founder and publisher of Women in Hollywood. This year's festival would not be possible without the support of our dedicated sponsors. Please join me in thanking Athena's founding sponsor, the Artemis Rising Foundation, and its CEO and founder, Regina K. Scully, who you will meet in a couple of minutes, whose visionary leadership makes our work possible. A special thank you as well to our premier sponsor, the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation, which shares in our commitment to showcasing stories of women in science. To all of our sponsors, whose names you will see before each film and event, thank you for your commitment to challenging the culture to be more inclusive and inspiring audiences in the process. This year is a year unlike any of us have experienced, and we wanted to create something new and exciting to bring to our community, so we created 8 different program areas that we believe react and respond to our current moment. This conversation is part of our Resilience Through Uncertainty program area. In this program area, we ask the question, what does resilience look like? How do we move through the fog of uncertainty and come out the other side? Through films and conversations, we'll investigate and showcase the exhaustion and devastation and the powerful manifestations of perseverance and hope that keeps people going. We are lucky today to have the founding sponsor of the festival, my friend Regina K. Scully, and her mother, Nancy Vincenza Kulik, who are here to talk about the short film, What Would Sophia Loren Do?, directed by Ross Kaufman, which Regina produced and stars Nancy. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I figured I'd just kind of do a quick, give it a nutshell description of the film for people who haven't seen it, and it's available on the Athena Film Festival site for several days, and check your program for that. And it's also available on Netflix. So in a nutshell, What Would Sophia Loren Do? Follows Nancy Vincenza Kulik, an Italian-American mother and grandmother living in Fort Lee, New Jersey. Nancy has seen her share of life's challenges, but has always been able to stay joyful and resilient, inspired in part by another Italian mother, the movie star Sophia Loren. Nancy uses the metaphorical question, what would Sophia Loren do, as a guide to questions big and small? For Nancy, the words, what would Sophia Loren do, have helped her navigate some of the most difficult times of her life. Through the experiences of these 2 extraordinary women, we come to understand what it means to face life's challenges with resilience and love, and to age with courage, humor, and joy. Thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you for having us.
I love seeing you together.
Thank you so much.
It's a true love story.
Yes, it is. It's a real love note.
So Regina, I remember a couple of years ago, you said to me, I'm going to make this movie with my mother, for my mother. What would Sophia Loren do? And I kind of didn't understand it at the time. And of course I understand it now that I've seen the beautiful movie. But why was making this movie so important to you, Regina?
First of all, you have a great memory, Melissa, because I've been talking about this movie for quite some time. A lot of my dear friends in the industry and outside of the industry are just have said, wow, you finally made that film. And, you know, I really wanted to tell the story of my mom and just showcase her, the love, just first of all, the love I have for her and for our heritage, in this case, our Italian heritage, and also about her resilience, and also about, joy, because it's even through all of the, life's ups and downs and all arounds, my mom raised me to see and find the joy in everything. And so that's equally important. And so, and also I just, I love and respect her so much. And, as I say in the film, beginning of the film, I knew when you get a mom like this, you have to share. You have to. And so this was my way of sharing my really extraordinary mom. I love that I get to do this.
Oh, it's a gift.
Mom, I get to share her with with many other people.
So, Nancy, did you have any hesitation about talking about your life so much in public?
No, I really didn't. That was really me, and I loved it. I love this because it's spontaneous, and there's no script. It's just the real humanity, the whole thing about real life. It was, I find it comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm comfortable being with you, and I was comfortable making that movie because everything was for real.
Yeah, Regina, you talked about having a special mother, and I remember another story that you told me about your parents, your mom, how you took the bus home every day from school, I think swim practice or something, and you went over the bridge, and then you would have this big dinner, family dinner, every night, right?
Yes, it wasn't necessarily a huge dinner, but it was. I would, because I went to school in Manhattan. I grew up in Bergen County, New Jersey, but I went to school in the city, and I would take the bus home. And my Italian grandparents, who are also in the film, my mom's parents, who came over from Italy, they lived not too far from my home here in New Jersey, not too far from the George Washington Bridge. And so I would go over there to their home every day after school, after my swim practice. And I would just have this home cooked, delicious, nutritious meal and just get to hear them and speak Italian with them and hear their stories. So, I got to do that for years. And again, it was one of the main reasons why I wanted to put this story to film, because we all come from somewhere, and I wanted to just honor where I came from, why we are the way we are, whose shoulders are we standing on to be who we are and to do what we do, and to just pass down the stories and the wisdom from these generations that came before us.
I think we, in our culture, don't honor women enough and honor the work that they have done for our whole culture and keeping things going. Because I think in this year of the pandemic, what we've all known but has been unearthed is the multitudes of work that women are doing and are finally saying, I can't do it all. Your experience in the film, Nancy, the joy of raising your 4 children, which I didn't know, Regina, you were the youngest and you were the only girl. So interesting.
I'm the third oldest.
Third, okay.
And I'm very much right. I'm the daughter among the 3 brothers.
Right. And so you really, you can see the joy of the family in the film also. And, I know it wasn't happy all the time, and you specifically focus on one important piece in the film, but I want to kind of acknowledge and get both of your thoughts on kind of how you keep going. What is your key to being so resilient, Nancy?
The first thing I do think is important, I would like to tell you, Melissa, and to your wonderful audience, that this film is not just about an Italian heritage. I'm kind of hoping that it comes across as for every generation. It really hasn't changed, the names and the places and some of the customs have changed, but the body of work of families, of moms and of dads, and sometimes it's the siblings that take over. The circumstances are such that I hope that I'm clear about the fact that it's for everyone, not just Italian, any religion, any background. We all strive to grow, and so I think that's one thing that I really want to incorporate. It's for all of us. It's for you. It's for everyone. And the other thing, as far as the resilience, I want to be very clear. It's not about one faith. I really enjoy learning about the different customs and the different ceremonies that go on in many faiths. I was lucky that because I am 83 now and have met so many marvelous people in various situations, that I have been included and invited to many, many different ceremonies of faith, even if they were marriages where they crowned their. Is someone sneezing? What's happening?
You're right about the varied
No, but
faiths.
that's okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother us. So
You have a strong faith.
I have a strong faith because I was born and shown, not so much wordy, not so much strict, no, but in action, the way my parents and my family lived. My mom, from the moment she got here, told us stories. And then, as I was getting to be a young adult, I certainly saw and was included in all of the behaviors that were consolidated into one main thing, and that is do your best.
Yeah.
Help others. I mean, there would be people that, during the war, I mean, this is something, that I could tell a million stories.
Which war?
During War II, there were many, many wives that were here while their husbands were gone. And they needed to stay someplace. They wanted to be near. And my mom and my dad, they built with their friends, with even me. I would carry a little brick, I was a little thing, baby, but we were all included to build a home. And so they built their first home. Well, their first home was absolutely accustomed that you didn't just live alone. You may have an aunt or an uncle or somebody. Well, in this case, it was the wives.
Yeah.
The wives of
So
these
very,
soldiers.
very, very welcoming.
And they came and mama fed them. They all became mama to everybody.
Yeah.
Taught me that.
Yeah.
And Nancy my mom brought that into her household too, in raising us. All the neighborhood kids came.
Yeah.
My mom, ate dinner at our home. I mean,
And they felt safe there.
Absolutely.
So the saying, what would Sophia Loren do? It seems to be your kind of like guidepost. And
yes,
I think that in the movie, we see how the movies of Sophia Loren help you. And you think about what Sophia went through in those movies. So my next question is about the influence of movies. We do a whole festival here that is about women's leadership on screen to help impact our culture.
Absolutely.
So what you've been influenced by movies, like literally, and are saying it out loud. So talk a little bit about what you think the impact of movies have, both of you. I mean, Regina, I'm going to ask you that again in a different way.
Sure.
I think they're life-saving.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think they're life-saving in so many ways. And not what one would think that, you picked someone up, but in a way, in movies, people throughout the globe, whoever was blessed with being able to see a movie, wherever, whatever, they would be able to feel like they were not alone.
Right.
Big
Absolutely.
thing. Nobody is alone if they could look at a movie and get something out of it. And something,
Feel connected to it.
Mhm.
That's right.
Mhm.
So Regina, I'm going to reframe that question a little bit. You are impacting movies by your producing and executive producing and making decisions about what movies that you want to invest in. And you are leaving an impact everywhere. So talk about why that is so important to you.
Because I think that, as my mom said, seeing representation on the screen, we can't be what we can't see, first of all. Or even if sometimes people can't even express their own feelings or experience, but if they see it, if they see someone else's story being conveyed and revealed, it helps unlock what their own emotions. It's really a heart connection as well as a mind connection. I think that's so important. And I think that these stories are also giving so many people a vehicle to express themselves and give them a voice, whether it's scripted or unscripted. It's the same, it's still, revelatory, and it's still a shared experience. I mean, it's one of the things I do. I mean, I love streaming. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But I like the combination. I still love movie theaters for that reason, because it's still wonderful to be in a row of seats or with other people who are laughing or crying or experiencing together a series of emotions and one narrative arc of a storyline. So I just think it's important. We are our stories. Our stories are our culture, and our culture is our legacy.
Right.
So it's just crucial that we always hang on to our stories and help facilitate our storytellers.
You tell some hard stories that I think other people would not want to tell. You go to the hard place, and you talk about wanting to be able to tell stories of trauma and believing in that. And you guys, in the movie, the movie illuminates a trauma that your family has been through. So what does your family teach us about resilience and coming through trauma?
To go forward.
Never give up.
Don't just stay down. You have to go forward, because it helps no one. In fact, it hurts people, your own people, family, friends, and others, to see someone just give up. You cannot give up.
Yeah.
And that was just symbolic when we were showing those movies with Sophia, such as when we showed Two Women, the segments. And that, for example, was symbolic of anyone who wants to save a life. It's not just about us and personal. That's symbolic, all of it. In fact, the whole movie was about the symbolism. It wasn't that when Sophia in the beginning, I was chuckling, and I shared that, I enjoyed one movie and then the next movie, and then each one, it wasn't that it was that movie and what she, was performing. It was that she was showing something in those movies. She showed her humor even wasn't easy.
It was the character, her characters.
It was all symbolic of not being afraid.
Yeah.
Pick yourself up and go, no matter what.
And also that the only way to move forward is to go through. We have to go through things.
Oh, yes.
And that, we will not break, even if we feel grief, even if we witness, go through a tragedy, whatever that means, or loss, of a loved one, or even the joys, sometimes we have these highs and lows, and that we will not break. We will move forward, and we'll become wiser for it and closer for it, and just know the value of experience.
Yep. Can you scooch a little bit towards your mom, because I'm want to make sure you're completely in the frame. Perfect. Thank you. All right, just a couple more questions. So your film has been shortlisted for an Academy Award. How does that feel?
How does that feel, Nona?
Well, I just think it's amazing. And it gives me hope that people enjoy seeing positive, not just a lot of what we see in the news that makes us sad, makes our heart bleed sometimes for people. So for those reasons, I'm delighted. I never expected it, because that's how I live my life.
That's right.
Yeah.
Regina, you've had a couple of films nominated. I think you've had some wins. Yeah. It can't get old, right? It's always cool.
No, it doesn't get old, because for me, the more eyeballs that see something, for me, it's always about more people watching these stories, And in many of our films, look, we're trying to change cultural norms, behavior, legislation. I mean, our films tackle some very serious issues, education issues. Yeah. But this film, so charming, and it's so joyful. And it's really like you just, oh my God, it's like getting a hug. But it's also got a lot of meat on the bones, and it's very deep. This
Yeah.
is Sophia Lorendu is a very deep, profound movie. And I actually call it Healing Joy.
Mm.
Because
Yeah, that's
it's
good.
because
Yeah.
it's got some serious things to say.
Yeah.
Nancy's sharing some really hard life stories.
Yeah.
But she's also shining a light on resilience, as we talked about, and on joy and the power of humor and the power of love and the power of friendships. You know, not just our partner relationships, but also friendships.
Right.
And that life is, yes, parenthood, motherhood, fatherhood, all these things are so important, but so is the person. And so is their life and their right to live and move forward and feel joy and be a human being and their interests.
Absolutely.
So
Last,
many-
sorry.
No, so I was saying this film has so many, it packs a lot in 32 minutes.
32 minutes, I know. More than a lot of films that are 2 hours.
I know, it covers love, loss, relationships, marriage, infidelity, friendships, honor,
Yeah.
character, you know,
Yeah.
mother and daughters, mother and children. You know, it just, I mean, it's Italian neorealism cinema, you know, just how Italian cinema has made such a mark on the world and to all of us who've watched it. And of course, Sophia being at the very top of that genre. She's just an icon and she deserves it.
So last question is about Sophia. What was it like meeting her after thinking about her for so many years?
It was sisterhood. It
Yeah.
was sisterhood the minute. There wasn't even a moment's hesitation.
Mhm.
We told each other that we felt that we'd known each other.
Mhm.
We spoke in Italian, the same dialect that just happened.
Yes.
She's from Naples, and we're from the
Very close by.
south of Naples. And I liked her humor, and
Very.
I like my own humor. You know, because I laugh at myself. And
Thank gosh.
We have to laugh at ourselves, right?
We do.
you
We
just can't be, you know. I mean, I asked her one time, even like in the movie, you can see, but I did ask her the one time, a different time. I said, you know, how do you handle when the family and friends feel that you should be doing something else other than what you are doing?
Right.
Because I do like to write. I have some fabulous writings. And
What did she tell you?
well, she was so cute because she said, say yes to everyone and then go do what you want. I have done that.
Yes, she was so very charming, very generous,
Yeah.
warm.
Yeah.
You know, Nancy, Vincenza, and Sophia share their mother language, so that immediately, because Nancy asked her, "Would you like to speak in English or Italian?" And she said, "Oh, Italian." So you went right into it. None of us knew what they were talking about. And they were giggling, and they were like schoolgirls. And so, you know, you never know. Listen, you never know what the celebrity might be like, and you never know what the fan might be like. But they both delighted in each other, and also they knew of each other,
Mhm.
and they both started their conversation already with enormous mutual respect.
Mhm.
That helps a lot. And
Wonderful.
I know her son, Eduardo, and he and I have worked together before, and we're very close friends.
Right.
I just happened to share the sweet story. I said, Eduardo, you are going to love this story. But I was raised with a mother who used to say to me, whenever she knew I needed to do a little value check on myself, what would Sophia Loren do? And so I said, it just became a metaphor for me and for all my girlfriends say it. We say it to each other all the time. We know what it means, right? It's just so full of import. And so I told him the story, and then I did this fabulous birthday party for Nancy in New York with all of her girlfriends, and the whole theme was, what would Sophia Loren do? So we've had so much fun with it.
We've had aprons. You know.
Right, aprons and movies and eyeliner and red lipstick. So I was sharing this with him, and he got such a delight. I said, I have got to tell my mom this. He said, can you send me one of the aprons? I'm going to send it to her. And so he did send it to her in Geneva, which is her home base. And then we got a picture back around Christmas time with her wearing it as she was cooking at Christmas. Her Christmas.
Oh, that's cute. I mean,
Sweet stories.
he has an amazing relationship with her. You could see when he was directing her and how he treated her with such respect. And, that's an important thing to see.
Give her that little kiss, Mama.
So cute, Mama.
Well, see,
No.
we did that in
Yes.
our. I'd go from room to room about one thing, doing something else, and my parents were in the living room, and it never occurred to me. I didn't think there was anything unusual about it, but it never occurred to me not to just bend over and give my mom a kiss, or my dad a little, cute little recognition.
So sweet.
And then I did my homework or whatever. It was natural. That's what I'm hoping, comes across, that people can be themselves. They don't have to be. I mean, Sophia is a symbol of excellence and goodness. But she's also a person that could be your girlfriend. You enjoy having her sitting with you and asking her and talking like people.
So gracious.
So I hope it does convey, we're people. We're united.
Absolutely.
If we spoke, just sitting down and having a cup of tea, we would find such similarities in each other, no matter who.
We're more
It's about connections.
right.
It's about connecting.
That's right. We're more similar than different.
That's correct.
And as Nancy said in the very beginning, that's why this film is resonating. I mean,
Yeah.
Melissa, we're getting messages from
my
really all
goodness.
over the world.
Right.
Serbia,
Lovely.
UK, Hong Kong, because these are universal truths.
Yeah.
For any family, any friendship.
Yeah. Well, thank you both so much for your time.